We know you want your first cruise to be memorable, and planning everything can feel overwhelming. We should know we've been on over 80 cruises, and let's just say not all of them have been smooth sailing. But we have learned a lot, so don't fret. From how to prepare for your cruise, what to pack, how to make the most of your time on the ship and ashore, plus one insider cruise tip that we do on every sailing that most first-timers don't know about. We cover it all. That way you're one step ahead of everyone else on board. Though cruises are more of an inclusive vacation option, you should be aware that on most cruise lines, not everything is included. Most onboard entertainment, access to many facilities, meals at included venues, and select non-alcoholic drinks are included in the cruise fare. However, additional costs usually apply to things like specialty restaurants, alcoholic and specialty beverages, the spa and thermal suite, and internet access. If you are planning to take advantage of any of these extras, be sure to account for them when creating your cruise budget. Smartphones really weren't a thing when we took our first cruise over 17 years ago. But now everyone has one in their pocket, and all major cruise lines have their own app. Even if you're just in the fact-finding stage, it's important to download the cruise line smartphone app prior to your trip. While features and functionality does vary a little bit on almost every cruise line's app, you can generally view information about your booking, view a countdown, and check in on the app prior to arrival at embarkation day. Even before your trip, you can usually use a cruise line's app to look at itineraries, ship deck plans, get more information about the onboard inclusions, and more. Then once on the ship, the app has many capabilities too, such as allowing you to reserve dining and activities, view the daily schedule of events, review menus for certain restaurants. Some even let you order food for delivery and chat with guest services or IM with other members of your party, and more. Now, speaking about those cruise ship deck plans, we often review them very closely when planning our cruise for several reasons. Now, unlike hotels that auto-assign you a room based on the category, on cruise ships, you can pick the exact cabin location. And while it is a little bit more money, we think especially for your first cruise that you should select your cabin. And that's where the deck plans come in handy. You can use those deck plans to find the ideal stateroom. Chances are you don't want to be just below the buffet, awakening to the hustle and bustle of people getting breakfast. You also don't want to be directly above the nightclub, unless you plan to be there all night, every night. Ideally, we suggest that your cabin be sandwiched between cabins directly above and below you. It's also important to check the deck plans to see how close you are to amenities you'll spend the most time enjoying, and how close or far away you are from an elevator, especially if you have mobility concerns. Of course, we want you to save as much money as possible on your first cruise, but the sad truth is that many individuals do overpay for their first trip. The number one mistake we see individuals make is booking their cruise too late. We often recommend you secure your cruise at least 8 months in advance. While you'll hear lots of websites touting last-minute deals, the reality is most of the in-demand cruise ships and destinations fill up fast. We always book early, and there's only been one instance in our 80+ cruises that we saw our cruise fare drop. Most of the times, the cruise fare actually creeps up by hundreds of dollars per passenger. Not to mention, booking in advance gives you the best selection of cabins. Plus, it also gives you more time to pay off the cruise. If you are a US citizen, taking a closed-loop cruise from the US, you most likely don't technically need a passport to sail. Most cruise lines allow you to use your birth certificate and another form of government ID instead. However, we strongly encourage you to have and use a passport anyway. Some ports of call may require a passport, and it makes things much easier for you if for any reason you have to leave the ship early and fly home from a foreign port. Of course, if your first cruise does not depart from the US and is departing from another country, then you need a passport anyway. If it will take you a long journey to get to your embarkation port, especially if you're flying, we recommend you arrive at least 1 day early. With the possibility for flight delays, missed connections, and cancellations, it's best to have some wiggle room for getting to the ship on time. This can apply if you're driving a long distance as well, since traffic jams, vehicle breakdown, or other issues could put you behind schedule. Plus, arriving early means you're starting your vacation a day early, and you'll have a night to enjoy the city and get well rested before beginning your voyage. Packing is not an art. It's a science that's best learned through lots of experience, but that doesn't mean you can't pack like an expert for your first cruise. When it comes to your first sailing, think carefully about what the weather will be like, what activities you'll be doing, and what you'll want to wear in the evenings. Bring layers, especially on sailings that might have cooler or more unpredictable weather, such as an Alaska cruise. Create outfits at home and mix and match pieces into multiple outfits to maximize your luggage space. Check whether your cruise line has self-service laundry, and if so, consider using it partway through your cruise to save even more space. Cruise lines also have laundry services if you're in a pinch. As long as you remember to bring layers, chances are you don't need as many pieces of clothing as you might think. Now, when it comes to packing, some first-time cruisers don't know that you can actually bring your own bottles of wine or champagne on the ship on embarkation day. The limit is generally 2 750 milliliter bottles, either per person or more typically per stateroom, depending on the cruise line. Once on board, ask your stateroom attendant for a bucket of ice to chill them. You can enjoy them in your cabin, on your balcony, or just about anywhere on the ship. Keep in mind, if you bring a bottle to dinner, you will most likely be charged a corkage fee. Bringing these bottles of wine is a nice way to save money on your first cruise. While most cruise lines do allow you to bring those 2 bottles of wine, most cruise lines do not allow you to bring other spirits, such as bottles of hard alcohol or beer. But there are several other items that you should never pack for a cruise. So before you take out your suitcase, check your cruise line's frequently asked questions section for what prohibited items are not allowed on board. This is one of the major first-time cruise tips that many guests wish they knew before sailing. There are some items that are not allowed, such as clothing irons, weapons, power strips with a surge protector, and candles. And regardless of your state laws, no marijuana, CBD, or marijuana-infused products are ever allowed on a cruise ship. If you do bring a prohibited item, they will likely confiscate it at the terminal, and you won't get it back until the end of the cruise. We understand that planning your first cruise can be stressful. So if you're a first-time cruiser, we highly recommend booking with a travel agent because they will guide you through the entire process, from helping you pick the right ship, choosing your cabin, and getting the best deal. Travel agents also offer promotions and perks that you won't be able to get on your own. And they're an independent third party to help you if you do have any issues with your booking or working with the cruise line. Now, Heidi and I are not travel advisors. That is why we've partnered with MEI Travel. They are the official travel partner of Eat Sleep Cruise. We book all our trips with MEI Travel, and if you need some help, check in the description down below for our exclusive link to MEI Travel's latest cruise deals and promotions, and connect with a travel advisor to get your free no obligation quote. Along with booking, a travel advisor can also help you weed through all the add-ons and additional packages that are available through many cruise lines. Prior to your sailing, you should investigate these packages to see if any of them would be beneficial for you to purchase. It is possible that something like a drink package, specialty dining package, or an internet package is something you're going to want to upgrade to on your cruise. Now, it is possible that you got a discount or one of these packages when booking with a travel advisor. But unless you're sailing on a luxury cruise ship, most of these items do cost extra. Some cruise lines even bundle packages together, so if you think you'll want more than one of these upgrades, you can see if that's an option. If your cruise line offers the ability to make reservations for specialty dining prior to the cruise, be sure you do for the places you don't want to miss. The same goes for entertainment, which some cruise lines allow pre-cruise bookings for as well. Normally, you can book these about 3 months prior to your sailing. Now, one first-time cruise mistake we actually made on our first sailing was not booking our excursions ahead of time. Yes, we actually waited till we boarded the ship, went through the paper descriptions of the excursions, checking which excursions we wanted, and then handing them in to someone at the shore excursions desk. Well, we never made that mistake again, and neither should you. We recommend that you book your shore excursions ahead of time. This also gives you several options, as you can book through the cruise line, through a third-party vendor, or directly through a local tour company. For first-time cruisers, we recommend usually booking through the cruise line for added peace of mind. The ship will not leave anyone behind if they are on a cruise line excursion, even if it runs behind schedule. With that being said, there are some non-cruise line excursions that are wonderful options as well. Something that's a little unique to cruising, and a lot of fun if you like to get creative, is decorating your door. You could decorate your door to celebrate a special occasion, personalize your vacation experience, or just as a way to identify which cabin is yours in that long hallway. Before you decorate your door, check if your cruise line allows it, because even though most do, there are a few exceptions. Your door is metal, as are the walls of your cruise cabin, so you can decorate them with magnets and affix other decorations with magnets as well. You don't have to attend the Naval Academy, but learning some basic ship terms can come in handy during your first cruise. For example, the front of the ship is known as forward, and the back is called the aft. When facing forward, the left side of the ship is referred to as the port side, and the right is known as the starboard side. Many remember this because left has 4 letters, just like the word port has 4 letters. The ship's speed will be described in knots, with 1 knot being about 1.1 miles per hour. Most cruise lines charge each guest a daily gratuity, or service charge. It's usually added to your folio each day of the cruise and will be on your final bill at the end. Typically, this charge is between $15 and $20 per person per day. However, one of our first-time cruise tips is to actually prepay these gratuities prior to sailing. That way, it's one less thing on your bill once your vacation is over. While many places across the globe do accept credit cards or even digital payments, you'll still want to have cash on hand for several reasons. One cruise mistake we often see families make is not having enough small bills or any cash on a cruise. You want some cash to make small purchases while ashore at shops and local markets. Cash will also come in handy for things like taxis or to tip guides and shore excursion hosts during your time at ports of call. While all purchases on board are tied to your credit card, you might still want cash to tip bartenders and servers, waitstaff, or your stateroom attendant. Of course, this is above the daily service charge. Most Bahamian and Caribbean islands do accept US currency, but if you're going to Canada or Mexico, you can consider getting local currency for those countries. And if your first cruise is to Europe, you should definitely get some euros before heading overseas. For reference, we usually have around $200 to $300 reserved for tips and small purchases while ashore. When booking your cruise, you'll likely be offered the option to book your flights through the cruise line. You'll also be offered the cruise line's travel insurance. We'd suggest you skip both and book these on your own. With flights, it's best to book either directly with the airline or through your travel agent because you're cutting out the middleman of the cruise line. Plus, many cruise line booked flights have weird routes and extra layovers that you can easily avoid if you book yourself. Now, we also highly recommend travel insurance. We have travel insurance for every single cruise we go on. And often you can find better policies at cheaper costs if you book your travel insurance on your own. A great aggregate website to find and compare travel insurance policies is tripinsurance.com. We mentioned one packing tip is to ensure you bring layers, but another item of clothing you might not think about packing, especially if you're going on a Caribbean cruise, is closed-toed shoes. You might think all you need is a pair of sandals, but trust us, you're going to want at least one pair of closed-toed shoes if your ship has a ropes course, go-kart track, or another attraction that doesn't involve water. Chances are good that it will require closed-toed, secure shoes such as sneakers. You also might want sneakers for port days where you'll be doing lots of walking to save your feet the pain of a shoe that doesn't have the support your feet will need. Sneakers are also our preferred shoe of choice for flying, so you don't have to even find space in your suitcase to pack them. Just wear them during your travels. The dress code in most cruise ships' main dining rooms is business casual, but most cruise lines still offer 1 or 2 formal nights. And while technically it's not required, you can of course go to the buffet for dinner if you really feel like going casual. We do recommend leaning into the experience and bringing your best outfits for your cruise line's formal night, some call them gala night, or dress your best night. If you're a cruise that's shorter than 1 week, there'll probably be only one of these formal nights. Most 7-night cruises do have 2, and longer cruises have more according to the length. But don't worry, you don't need a gown or a tux, although you'll probably see a few people still sporting those outfits. Cocktail dresses, more formal maxi dresses, and for men, suits, or at least suit separates, are common. The evening often includes a captain's toast, a cocktail reception, and photo opportunities with the ship's photographers. If you are prone to motion sickness, consider bringing seasickness medication such as Dramamine or other nausea solutions. Popular options include motion sickness patches and sea bands, which our family members swear by. Many ships are so large today that you can't even feel them moving most of the time, but it's best to be prepared. If you find yourself on board without anything to help with the dizziness or nausea, head down to the ship's medical center. But of course, talk to your doctor first before considering any seasickness solutions. Another item you don't want to forget to pack is sunscreen. Though it will be available on the ship, you'll pay a hefty premium for it. The same will probably be true at the shops in the port area during your port days. So just pack your own and make sure it's not expired. Even if you're taking a cooler weather cruise where you don't think you'll need it, such as Alaska or Northern Europe, there will likely still be warm, sunny days where you want to be outside, and it's best to be prepared. Now, one trap you do not want to fall into during your first cruise is getting on board one of these brand new mega ships with lots of attractions and amenities, and then waiting to the last minute to experience them all. If your ship has lots of bells and whistles that you want to try, like a rock climbing wall, an escape room, water slides, a rope course, or other various attractions, try to get some of these must-do items checked off early in the sailing. By getting those things in the first few days, you'll avoid the last-minute crowds and be able to relax during the rest of your voyage, knowing you accomplished what you wanted to on board. On your first cruise, whatever you do, don't be late. Though some cruise lines have implemented time slots for guests to arrive on embarkation day, try to show up at least 15 minutes early to ensure you'll be there on time without any added stress. On the ship, it also pays to be early to things like shows and events, where guests often line up 30 minutes or more before the show to make sure they get a seat. Even if you have a reservation for the show, try to show up at least 15 minutes before showtime. While almost all major cruise lines do have apps where you can do your check-in, we still recommend printing hard copies as backups. Prior to your cruise, make sure all of your paperwork is in order by printing all important travel documents. This could include your boarding passes, travel insurance policy information, shore excursion information or tickets, plus more. We recommend putting your paperwork in a folder to keep it all together. Keep it with you as you board the ship in your hand luggage, along with your passport and other forms of ID. This is another important tip too. On embarkation day, nearly all guests hand off their suitcases to a porter at the port. That way, your bags are just delivered to your stateroom and you're not walking around the ship for hours with your luggage. So we highly recommend you use the porters. However, we recommend that you keep at least one piece of luggage with you, most likely something like a backpack or a tote bag. In this carry-on is where you should keep your embarkation documents, identification, any electronics that you might be bringing on the cruise along with your cell phone, maybe like an action camera, plus any cords or power adapters, and other valuables. We also recommend keeping your toiletries, a change of clothes, and your swimsuit in your hand luggage. This way you can head on board, freshen up, and hit the pool as soon as you board without having to wait for your suitcase to arrive. If you are traveling with kids, be sure to register them at the kids club, even if you're not sure they'll want to spend time there. But honestly, most likely, they'll love it. On the first day, youth clubs usually host an open house where you can get the kids registered, meet the staff, and see the different spaces that your kids will be able to enjoy. When you board the ship on embarkation day, it'll probably be around lunchtime, and you'll probably be hungry. But instead of hitting up the buffet, consider eating at one of the other casual lunchtime dining venues. Most cruisers make a beeline for the buffet once they board, meaning it will be extremely crowded. Chances are good that other lunch options, some that haven't yet been discovered by fellow passengers, will be less overwhelming for your first meal on board. And this is where you can check the app or get a print copy of the daily list of activities, as some cruise lines even have one of the main dining rooms open for lunch on embarkation day. Once the ship departs port, be sure to switch your cell phone into airplane mode. This is imperative, as you will be charged expensive roaming fees as your phone tries to find satellite service out at sea if you don't. Once you turn your airplane mode on, you can turn Wi-Fi back on so you can access the ship's internet. Before you leave for vacation, also check to see if your cell phone plan covers any foreign countries the ship plans to visit. If it doesn't, you should keep your phone on airplane mode in foreign ports as well, unless it's an emergency. Or, if your cell phone carrier offers one, consider buying an international plan for the duration of your trip. In port, make sure you're keeping track of time so that you're back on board for all aboard time, which will usually be at least 30 minutes up to an hour prior to the time the ship will actually leave. We suggest getting back to the ship at least 30 to 45 minutes prior to the all aboard time. Also, make sure you know what the ship's time is before you get off the ship in every port. It may be the same as local time, or it may not be. Also, most cruise lines have cards or information in the app that provides you with the address of the ship and a local phone number for the port agent. If you cannot easily find this information, go to guest services and ask for it, and then have it saved in your phone. Having this contact information is crucial if any emergencies arise while you're ashore at a port of call. One insider tip that we always swear by, especially on new mega ships, is consider staying on the ship in a port of call. If your itinerary is really port heavy, or you just want extra time to actually enjoy everything your ship has to offer, don't feel like you need to get off the ship at every destination. We know for some first-time cruisers, this isn't even something that they think about. If there's a port that doesn't interest you, or you're thinking of booking yet another beach break, or another island tour in a bus, you can just stay on the ship and treat it like a less crowded sea day. Because honestly, for us, sea days are some of the best days of any cruise. Now, along with decorating your cabin door, there are several cruise cabin hacks and space-saving tips. Perhaps one of the biggest one is to make sure you unpack, especially on that first day of your cruise. Given cruise cabins are small, regardless of what category you choose, you don't want to live out of your suitcase for the entire week. So you can unpack and then store your luggage underneath your bed. The dead area under your bed will neatly store your luggage and add much needed space back to your cruise cabin. To make this exercise easier, we also recommend utilizing packing cubes. These squares help you organize your clothing items and make unpacking a breeze. And because we want your cruise to be truly unforgettable, we actually have a bonus tip for you. Now, while magnets are fun for decorating your door, magnetic hooks actually can come in handy in your cruise cabin. So instead of using up space in your closet, you can use these magnetic hooks for extra storage. Think items like beach bags, hats, jackets, or anything else you might ordinarily throw on the sofa. You can neatly hang these items to allow for extra seating and to reduce clutter. In fact, magnetic hooks are one of the 25 cruise essentials we pack for every cruise, regardless of the cruise line or the destination. So head right over to our Cruise Essentials video right here on YouTube. That way, you're one step ahead of everyone else on board.